And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning for a surprise early edition to grade A power plays. You can consider this a part one for today. The following video that will be later this afternoon will be more props and actual power play goals. I have been experimenting with this little feature in the goal scorer category on teams to do certain things. So in this case, we will concentrate on power plays. And man, do we have a lot of options to really go through. So let's start from the beginning. One of my favorite props for today, like I said, we're using this as a baseline. Minus 145 for a team prop. Once again, these props are for a team to score one power play, two power plays, so on and so forth. One of the hottest teams, hottest power plays going. Buffalo is at home against San Jose. We're going to take Buffalo first at minus 145 to get a power play goal. Not only is Buffalo one of the hottest teams, but San Jose is leading since the Olympic break in penalty minutes. Since the Olympic break. And we're talking about regular penalty minutes. Like I said, penalty minutes can be skewed because, Tampa Bay and Buffalo just gained a whole bunch of penalty minutes because between them there was almost 100 with that big fight. So Tampa Bay as a team is almost at 1,000. Fine. But actual penalty minutes in the last 5 games, San Jose has had a minimum of 6 minutes, so that's 3 penalties. They have a few games in there with 12 minutes. So a lot of power play opportunities here. San Jose not a penalty kill to fear. They don't have the defensive matchup to fear anyway. So we'll start with the baseline at minus 145. Buffalo home against San Jose. Another top pick that I like. It could go either way. Well, we'll get to this one too because I do like this. Tampa Bay, once again, like I said, they lead the league, but that is still an amazing penalty kill. I think with the day off, more than likely we'll probably have Vasilevsky probably starting. Columbus still a weak power play. We don't fear the penalty. We don't fear any of the defensive matchups there. It's a bottom 10 penalty kill, and we're just gonna go for another 145. But instantly, two 145s add up to plus 185. As we continue, now you would think Toronto's power play is still efficient. They're going to get a lot of minutes. They're going to get a lot of opportunities with Montreal at home. Like I said, Toronto, like I said, it's not a good team right now. I attack Toronto like I recommend people to attack the Los Angeles Kings. But in this case, with what we're betting here for this long parlay, I do like Toronto in this case. And also, well, I did miss my opportunity because when I first started doing my research, Toronto was one of the few plus money. But look, they're right there around the even mark at minus 110. Both Montreal at minus 140. But I like Toronto even on the road. Montreal is still going to get a lot of opportunities. This is still Montreal. They take a lot of penalties. Toronto still has Matthews, Nylander, Tavares on that power play. The team is not good, but they still have a very good power play unit. So we'll get a little boost here at minus 110, almost even money. Toronto at Montreal to get a power play goal. We're going to keep attacking the Kings here. You're probably surprised because Boston's a team that I like to attack, but LA is still a slumping defense. Boston has a top 5 power play. So we're actually going to go with Boston at the minus 125. LA is the plus odds, but that power play is it's below average, but we're still dealing with Boston's a top 5 power play. LA is a 75% penalty kill. That's bottom 7. So Boston at home, we'll take the minus 125 with Boston. As we go here, these are still two good power plays. We hit on this last week. Remember, they just had a game where there was a power play on each team. I'm going to stick, but in this case, you can only pick one. You can't pick both. You can't parlay both. So it's the same thing like how the power plays were. Once you pick one, you can't parlay the other when you pick individual power plays. I'm just going to stick with Florida on this one. Why? Because, yes, they did put in the power play fixer for Detroit, which was Jay Van Riemsdyk, and he got a power play goal. The question is, does Dylan Larkin play? And even if he does, Detroit does get, the plus money. But Florida's power play has still been going. Marchand is most likely out for the rest of the year, so Verhaeghe's now up there. I definitely like that boost. So I'm going to go with Florida with the minus 115. That's our fifth pick. As we continue, we'll continue down to... I do kind of like this matchup. This is Minnesota. Minnesota, they're like Vegas. Don't give up a lot of penalty minutes. But even though their PK is not that well, you're not going to get that many opportunities. The thing about Minnesota here is that Minnesota's penalty kill has risen from the doldrums of the NHL, and they're kind of like mid-pack. Ever since the Olympic break, Minnesota has not given... I think they've given up one power play in the past 5 games. So they've kind of assured that as they make their playoff push. So I'm pretty much going to stay away from this one. I mean, you could look at the Minnesota side going against Utah, but you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for another minus 125. We got Winnipeg. It's Anaheim. Josh Morrissey's back. That's an easy click. And our sixth pick gets us back to plus 32 to 1. And then my last pick, one of the hottest power plays going against the second worst PK, I'm going to go Nashville. Nashville offense has found the groove. They've continued that hot streak from before the Olympic break. The Nashville power play is running hot. I think in their past 7, they have about 5 or 6 power play goals. They're on the road against Seattle, but Seattle still has, they're still giving up enough power play opportunities. And like I said, it's the second worst, they're the second worst PK. They're right between Ottawa and they're right just above, obviously, the worst in Vancouver. So we're just going to go with the hot hand. I like the way Nashville's been playing. That's basically even money at minus 105. And once you do that, these 7 bets right here, 10 pays out $644. These are my favorite power play spots. I think these teams will get a power play goal. Once again, this is in the goal scorer category, and you just go to power play goal. You're just picking to see which team can get a power play goal. These are my favorite opportunities here. And I'm going to use that daily 20% on this to boost this. $76.15. $10 gets you $771. So let's just say $770. We'll place that. That's our first bet of the day. Later today, I will go over one of my individual picks. And also in that video, we'll rewind and check out yesterday's first bad night. First bad night. Just for a preview. It's the first time I'm a $10 better, of course. If my bankroll gets big, I'll get to 15 and 20. But last night was the first night, about a week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks, doing these videos, getting back into the thick of things, that I've lost more than 10 units. So we'll get more into that when the actual power play picks are ready to go. But these are the teams that I like to go for a power play goal tonight. Once again, Buffalo to score a power play goal, Tampa Bay to score a power play goal, Toronto, Boston, Florida, Winnipeg, Nashville. If those teams score a power play goal with the boosted odds, $770 to our account. The power play picks will be on later. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is something that sometimes I just forget to bring up because I'm normally about the PPQB, parlay, and the other power play odds. But I have been doing this lately. This is the biggest that I've done it, though. There's been times where I've done normally 3 to 4 legs, but a lot of games today, full schedule. So why not take the opportunity to actually, let's get a spicy parlay to start the day. I think this is something that can hit, and I've taken the best chances. None of these is one of those that, if you make a long parlay, you're like, I like this one, I like that one, but this one might not go. Nah, this is none of that. I really think this is something that could actually hit. But thank you for tuning in once again. I hope everybody's having a wonderful morning. Grade A power plays with the regular formatted show will be out later this afternoon. Thank you for tuning in once again. Good luck tonight. Let's get this, and let's bounce back. We can't have good to great nights every night, or good to really good nights. Amazing would be one of these nights where I actually hit the power play QB parlay or some type of parlay in general. And hitting this parlay in general will definitely without a doubt start the night Great, start the day off amazingly. But thank you for tuning in once again. Thank you for all the support. Like, subscribe, comment. What are your favorite picks? What do you like about this one? The boy Grade A Fantasy. And forget saying signing off. I'll see you later.